It's spooky paying for an adoption. How do you pay for one when it costs 40, 50, 60, $80,000? How do you pay for one? It's kind of scary. So, yes, Halloween is coming, so I pulled out my little witch's hat right here. So, how do you pay? Oh my goodness, how do you pay for an adoption when it costs so much and it's as much as you make in a year, maybe? It could be more than you make in a year, or maybe not as much, but it is so expensive. So, how do you pay for this? All right, well, I'll talk about some of the things that we have done. And then, the options for paying for an adoption, there really are so many, but I'll talk about some of the things that we have done. First of all, the first thing that we did was for our daughter, we set up a GoFundMe account. And this time we're doing Give, Send, Go. But this way people can go and they can just donate money as they're able to. People have also donated over Venmo, which is a little bit better because they don't take a fee, but they do, you can't really set up that adoption campaign like you can with the others. Okay, some other things that we have done. We have a friend that sells cookies, and so she set up a cookie fundraiser for us, and that was super sweet of her to be able to earn a little bit extra there. And we've done yard sales. This last time we did a yard sale, and my goal was to be able to get enough money to get a bookshelf for Jose's room. So, and we got enough. We got the bookshelf. That was the goal. Of course, that didn't go toward actual, it didn't go toward the actual adoption fees, but that was something that we were going to need to pay for anyways. And then I have, so I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I'm also an artist, and I do these things, right? This and my other YouTube channel. So I look for other jobs that I can do to help raise extra money. So I go and Monday and Friday, I clean house. There's a lady I take out, drive her different places sometimes that she needs to go to, doing photography jobs like photo shoots, Spanish lessons. Like, think about the talents that you have. What can you do to help generate extra income for your family, to help pay for some of those bills as they come in? You may not be able to pay for like the big ones off of that, but you'll definitely be able to pay for some of those little things that will allow you then to put money back into savings to be able to cover some of the big things. And then one of the most important, biggest things that you can do to help to save money, well, one, just set up a schedule in your finances to save back a little bit each month. Find ways that you can sacrifice, other things that you used to do normally as a family and say, okay, well, let's scale that back. Let's not do that. Let's not do this time, and put that money back into savings. Okay, and then another big thing that you can do is filling out applications for grants. Now, it is a lot of paperwork. It can take a lot of time, but you're already doing a lot of paperwork for all of the adoption. The best time to fill out stuff for grants is when you've done everything you can think of to do. Everything is done that you can do for the adoption, and you're just kind of sitting and waiting for other people to get stuff filled out or to hear back from things. Then that's when you pull out all that grant paperwork, you start filling that stuff out, get some grants submitted. And some of them you can't turn in until you actually have a referral. Some of them you can't turn in until you have your home study done. You just have to see what their requirements are. But get as many grants as you can turned in. For our daughter Stephanie, we got 2 grants, which helped tremendously, and we've received 1 grant so far. I filled out 5 applications. So So you will have to fill out a lot. So I filled out 5 so far, and we've gotten 1. And sometimes they will notify you that you didn't receive the grant, and sometimes they won't. That's how they notify you, is they don't. It's kind of silly. So you can't just like sit around waiting like, well, we might get this one. We might have that money if we just hear back from them. No, you just send it in assuming that you're not even going to get it. And if you do, amazing. So, so I'm planning on submitting some more here, another 2 or 3 at least, in the next couple months. And hopefully we'll get another one of those. So after that, there are different kinds of grants. Some of them, they just give you the money. Some of them, it's a matching grant. So you do things like do a fundraiser and raise money, and then they will match how much you earned. So that can be pretty good too if you're able to do the fundraising side. Let's see. And then there are other ones that will give you a loan at a low interest rate. So, because sometimes when you go through the bank, it's like 6%, 7 or 8%. And so sometimes these places, they'll give you a loan, but at a much lower rate. So, but I would say getting the loan is like the last option. If you're just like, this is all we got left, no one else is able to help us, there's no family that's able to help us out, then that's where you want to go to next. We have been very fortunate that there have been several friends and family that have helped us out significantly. And so, we're still doing all of this because we don't want to say, friends and family will just help us out. No, that's not right. I don't even think they would be able to help us out that much anyways. And so we want to do everything that we can on our part to get whatever grants we can, whatever, do whatever yard sales or fundraisers or whatever extra spare jobs that we can to be able to get as much as we can so that we're not putting that burden onto family and friends. But we are extremely grateful for the family and friends that have been able to help us, and we are full aware that not all adoptive families have family and friends that are able to help them out. So go and do as much research as you can. Talk to your adoption agency. Your adoption agency will have a lot of information about, a lot of times they have information about grants and different things that you can do. I've heard of some people who they will make like t-shirts, or they'll make cute stickers or hats. Like they'll make a whole little Etsy shop of adoption things. And that's how, it's one of the ways that they fund their adoption. And I've thought of that, but I don't know that I will be able to put that together. Maybe it will have to be something I would do for another adoption in the future. Because some things take a lot of planning and a lot of work. So, yes, really use all your resources that you can to pay for this thing, and don't go into debt if you don't have to. That should be your absolute last option, is going into debt. But if you have to, do it. Don't just say, we're going to have to go into debt, so I guess we shouldn't go through with the adoption. No, this is a child. This is a child that needs you, and otherwise is going to have, who knows what kind of future they're going to have. It's not going to be one with a family, most likely. So do what you need to do. But it is possible. It is possible. Our last adoption, we were able to complete it with 0 debt, which was crazy. On a military salary, and we were able to complete the adoption with no debt. We were very, very blessed, extremely blessed. So take it to God also. Let him know, like, this is where we're at. This is our hope and our desire, that we want to come out of this debt free. We want to be able to complete this adoption. Please send help us to know where to go, what kind of things to do to be able to raise the money that we need. So now, what do you do if you did have to take out a whole bunch of loans and you've completed the adoption and you have all of this money that you owe back? What do you do? Well, there is still some hope. There are things that can be done. First of all, keep the same budget that you had before. Don't all of a sudden say, oh, the adoption is done. Now we can just go back to how things were before. No, keep the same budget so that you're putting that certain amount back every month, paying on those loans. Also, keep those same jobs that you were doing before. If you had an extra job, or if you were doing cleaning, if you were teaching, if you were tutoring someone in some way, if you were doing yard work for people, keep those same things up so that you can continue to make payments on those. Also, make sure you're doing things. Don't go into more debt at this time. You have a significant debt that you need to pay off, and it could be as much as like a college education, and you don't want to spend years and years and years paying for the adoption. So don't make any significant large purchases. Don't go out and buy a new car unless you just don't have a car and you need a car. But don't make any big purchases, and don't plan any big family vacations, which I know is sometimes kind of hard, especially when you just finished an adoption. You just have your new child at home and you guys want to go out and do something really awesome as a family. You want to take them someplace that maybe you've been to before and you want to experience this with them. Just hold off for a little while. Hold off for a few months, hold off for a year until you're able to get this adoption loans paid off. You will thank me later when you're not trying to still continually, years and years later, pay for those adoption loans, especially if there's an interest rate that is high. So just wait. And that doesn't mean that you can't do things as a family. You certainly can, but just plan smaller things, things that are less expensive. Okay, other things that you can do. First of all, the US government has an adoption tax credit. So it's not a rebate or a refund, but it's a tax credit. So taxes that you would owe, where the government is taking that from you, now they're essentially giving it back. If you are adopting a special needs child or an older child, that will renew like year after year. If there was no special needs, then I think it's only good for like 2 years. You get a certain amount and then it will like roll over, I think, to the next year. Don't quote me on that. You'll have to really do your homework on that. Really talk to an accountant, someone who does taxes, to really know how that works out. But that can help a lot. So when you get your tax refund back, try to put all of the money that you get from your tax refund into paying off those loans instead of planning a vacation or planning to buy a sofa or whatever that people always do with their tax refunds. Just automatically plan to put that right into those loans. If you're military, there is a rebate. It's I believe, if I remember right, it was $2,000, which I know isn't a ton in the grand scheme of things, but $2,000 is $2,000. So you get that per child that you adopted. So if you adopted a sibling group that had 2 or 3 children, or 4, you will get the $2,000 per child. And if you're not military, then talk to your employer. It was your employer, your husband's employer, your wife. Talk to your employer about possible adoption benefits or credits or refunds or things that your employer might have. Some employers, some companies do things to be able to help out the families that are adopting. So that is definitely an option too. Obviously, the tax or the refund that the military gives is our employer benefits for adopting. Okay, so those are some of the things that you can do if you had to take out loans to help with paying that off and not being trapped by those loans. So there is hope. There is hope if you had to do that. So hopefully hopefully I've helped you to see that it's not quite so scary to pay for an adoption. It is scary. It is scary though, because you know, if we didn't have some of the help that we've had from friends and family, we would have ended up in debt after this adoption. But we still would have done it because it was that important. So just keep plugging forward, keep moving forward every day. What else can I do? What else can I do? Post on Facebook. Hey, can I teach someone guitar lessons? Can singing lessons? Can I clean someone's house? Can I run some errands for someone? Does someone need tutoring? Does someone need this or whatever? Someone to mow the lawn? And just, you know, you'll see, oh my goodness, this week I made $120, you know, in extra cash that I can put towards something. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me as we create our adopted family, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, some other things that we have done. We have a friend who sells